I am now joined by Wilson, a member of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. Hello, Wilson. Good day.
Thank you for having me, Irene.
Certainly. Thanks for joining us on the news. Now, the report on poverty and inequality by the NBS shows that 82.9 million Nigerians are estimated to be poor. What do you make out of this data?
Well, first of all, I think there's some positive sense in the fact that we're able to conduct a poverty survey within Nigeria after over, would I say, 7 to 8 years. So locally, by our local standards, we've been able to develop a poverty line. And of course, which is also very good, the fact that we have numbers to show the absolute number of people in poverty and how it can enable us to plan, whether in terms of policy and implementation of government programs. So that's on one positive side. Then going to the data itself. So we have a situation where 83 million Nigerians live below the national poverty line that was estimated in the survey. And I think this number is really quite huge, given, the size of the country. And even worse still is if you then break this down into so we have a poverty line, which means 137,000 naira per annum, which means that if you spend below this certain amount as an individual, then you fall below the poverty line. So if you convert this into a daily rate, so you have about 381 naira per day. Converting it to dollars, we're looking at maybe about $1, for each individual, which is even quite low because the national and global estimates for poverty is a bit higher, above $1. Sometimes you have 1.25, 1.95 and all that. So if we were to even use that global standards of measurement, it means that we're likely going to have over 83 million people living below the poverty line. And this is a clear example of the fact that, the economy is growing slowly. We recorded a growth rate of about 2.3%, which is quite low for a country like Nigeria, and especially given where we're coming from. We all experienced how the 2016 recession was, and how such type of recession with what it accompanies with things like inflation, forex exchange rates, and all that. We see how that affects individuals and households, and basically drags people below the poverty line. And right now, Nigeria is in a tough situation, which means in 2020, a lot more people will still be added to these poverty numbers. So it's not really a good one for a country like Nigeria.
Now, you presented the best case, worst case, and even case scenarios for the Nigerian economy during the Nigerian Economic Summit about 6 months ago. Now, it's about 6 months here. Have you seen any progress in terms of the recommendations made during that period?
Yes. So what we looked at the summit is Nigeria in 2050, and we said we can't just keep moving as if things are all right. We need to start looking for a better Nigeria, and we tried to do three scenarios for Nigeria. Interestingly or sadly, what we projected is that in the worst case scenario is that by 2021, Nigeria is going to fall into a recession and would remain there, for quite a long time. So we didn't even, of course, coronavirus then was not even out, so adding this coronavirus effect and the fact that oil prices are also down at very low, sometimes around $20 below $20 per barrel in April, tells you a lot that things are going to be quite tough for the economy going forward. In terms of whether government is implementing some of these recommendations, I am aware that there are several teams coming together to look at a vision for Nigeria now that also the ERGP has elapsed. Will elapse in 2020. So there are efforts to start a new planning phase for the country and also capturing the long-term efforts. But I think in terms of government policies, seeing how we can, stimulate businesses and ensure that business employ people, I think we've really not made so much significant progress in that area. So, for instance, if you look at the poverty numbers, taking you back to the poverty numbers, you would see so much disparity between the northern region of Nigeria and the south. You would see the fact that farmers are even the most poor people in the country. You would see that education, and those that are less educated are even more poorer, they have more higher poverty rates. So I think these are critical issues that, as a country, we need to start looking at going forward.
Thank you very much, Wilson Erumebo of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. Thanks for joining us on the news.
All right, you're welcome.